Let's move on. Family. Family. What are we feeling? What are we
Uh,
thinking in the family zone?
well, I know some people are thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm stuck here self-educating my child. I never signed up for this. I never thought I could do this." But again, I think there are a lot of opportunities in the family zone. And Matthew, you just kind of introduced one with this. What you talked about your son inviting you to master Grand Theft Auto. I think there are opportunities. I see opportunities to engage with my kids in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
I've got a
Yeah.
teenager. I am forced to engage with what he's learning.
Yeah.
I'm forced to kind of relearn along with him, and he kind of has to talk to me now. Do you know what? He can't just do the teenage thing of just completely cutting out. Uh, so I think that creates maybe a different window that I have with my teenage son. I also have a university age son at home, and I'm spending time with him that I just normally wouldn't have. He'd be off, kind of pursuing his adult life now, and it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a little bit more honeymoon, and I'm absolutely committed to enjoying that and thinking
Yeah.
I've gotten a little bit more than of my family than I would have had otherwise.
And I'm finding the mindfulness quotient has gone up. I think we all are guilty of taking everyone around us for granted, and the etiquette does slip down 1% or 15%. We were talking before we got on air about some horrific news in terms of the domestic stuff and the rest of it. But it seemed to me that we're walking into this consciously and mindfully, mindful of our needs, but mindful of other people's needs. We negotiated what television the three of us might enjoy, and there were no rude words. No Anglo-Saxon was thrown across the room, and we came across to something fairly useful and empathic, and it's all working so far on day two. I'll report back on that next week. Fantastic. So there's an opportunity, as you say, to almost to renegotiate some of the fundamental contracts.
Absolutely, and maybe also, as you say, to acknowledge that living together is challenging, and
Yeah,
it does
yeah, yeah,
require compromise and listening empathetically and empathically, and
yeah.
that you signed up for these people, and now we've got to re-engage in a way.
They didn't choose to be born. It's all good. So let's go to zone three, work. What are we feeling there?
Now, again, I think people are thinking, oh, I can't have the same type of conversations with people. I can't create the same connections. I actually think there are a lot of opportunities in the area of work as well. I think that being remote from people, not being able to, or being having to go into a room can actually enable different types of conversations.
Yeah,
I personally think it's a great opportunity to have those challenging conversations with people and maybe even to
yeah.
reset relationships, because I think there's certain things that you can say across a screen that maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable saying face to face to someone in a room. Not that an excuse or a cop out, but maybe there is an opportunity to go, do you know what, we've never really gotten along perfectly, we've never really been able to collaborate perfectly.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something we can do in this moment to just kind of reset our relationship.
Yes, so the new concept is new circumstances, new relationship, and there's an excuse for it, isn't it? You've sat next to someone for 10 years, you wouldn't go, oh, it's Tuesday, you've got tuna, let's have a chat. You wouldn't do that. But this is such a weird space, and it's that loss of normal habit repetition which is an opportunity. I love it. I love it. So that critical conversation, and I think you were talking before about that rolling, repeating meeting. What would you do with that?
Well, I think these things that have just become the norm, that have become habitual, and that may serve no purpose, no use whatsoever. So let's call this the forest of useless habit. And maybe you should just take the axe to the forest of useful habit and chop one thing down and think,
Okay.
okay, I've chopped this down. Is there still a forest here? Can we still continue doing what we're doing? Are people relieved? Are there people waiting to say, "Oh, thank goodness you this pointless Thursday departmental meeting that we've been having every Thursday at 3 o'clock? You had the 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 daring to just say, let's not do it anymore." And what I would also suggest, Matthew, is hand the axe to your colleagues and say, "What would you like to chop? What tree in the forest of useless habit would you like to chop down?" and see how many things are absolutely perhaps not essential.
I love it. We might reinforce social distancing. If it is 2 meters away, they're unlikely to chop your head off. So
That's
that's the
true.
viewer challenge. That's the viewer
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah. Yes, we can actually introduce a virtual axe into the workplace.
Exactly. What were they? Pokemons. Collecting the virtual Pokemons. The Pokemon axe. I love it. I love it. So bringing that together, we've got a lot there. The final zone, friends and community, which is probably more important now than it's ever been. What's happening in your community?
Well, I think I heard someone say, we shouldn't call this social distancing. We should just call it physical distancing because what we shouldn't be doing now is socially distancing. In fact, we should stay connected to people as much as we possibly can. And I read something interesting about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When we can't address our survival needs, when we feel like things are going out of control, this sense of belonging, the next level up Maslow's hierarchy, becomes really, really important. So, how do we stay connected to friends and our community in a different way? Now, I don't know about you, Matthew, but spontaneous things are happening in
Yeah,
my community. That we are getting going out at 8 p.m. and singing a song or applauding the NHS, just
yeah,
people on the street. And I look across the street and there are people I don't even know,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
sharing this
yeah,
experience with them. So, in a funny way, I'm actually meeting some of my neighbors that
yes,
I've never met before. And I think as well, people are finding lots of innovative ways of getting together. I have a friend who
yeah,
started a
yeah,
virtual pub
yeah,
where he meets with his mates and they share a beer and they have the same type of conversations in a virtual environment. One of my neighbors who can't go to work, who can't work from home, has been baking every day. He comes across leaves. Today it was cupcakes. Yesterday it was muffins. And he said, I'm just so grateful to have something to do. Otherwise, I'll go nuts. And that so it's not just an act of giving, it's an act of giving to get. So it's a mutual reciprocative experience for him, and obviously it's just a great way of creating energy. And I think
yes,
what we've learned is that how we may now have a little bit more time to spend with our friends.
yeah,
We can have a little bit longer phone call. We can
yeah, yeah,
write a longer email. We can spend a little bit more time with people just because two things. A, I think we recognize the importance of our friends and the people around us,
yeah.
especially in these kind of life threatening times. And also, we just have that little bit of extra bit of time and space and desire to connect.
No, exactly. And I love it. And it's those people who are amazing, and we've sort of lost them because they're so crazy busy, but they're in an area of business which is all about human contact, and their context has changed. And we're probably doing them a little bit of a favour. They're probably in more shock than most, and we can reconnect with them. Okay, so
Hmm.
we've gone through 4 zones. We've gone to an altitude. That cloud looks cumulus nimbus about 10,000 meters high,
Very
and
impressive.
there's a bit of a godlike vibe going on here. But well, maybe we'll make that into another video about cults and the danger of following people who seemed like the Messiah, but maybe aren't. So let's just do this. So we started with this space. What would you call it? Well, if there was one sentence to go and meditate upon for our lovely, lovely, lovely viewers, what would it be?
I think it's just to spend a moment and look for the perfection in this moment. What is this moment offering us that previous normal life didn't offer us?
Lovely.
And in these 4 areas, these 4 zones, or whatever, what could be the thing that you'll remember forever from this time?
Yeah.
And I suppose just to draw on what 5,000 years of recorded storytelling tells us is that challenges, when we face
Yeah.
challenges, when we
Yeah.
face a nemesis, that is there as our teacher.
Yeah.
We are here to learn in this challenging time with these obstacles that we face. So in this moment, it is an opportunity to learn. We should walk up to the lockdown and say, thank you for coming into my life, for giving me the opportunity to grow. I'm going to see the perfection in this moment and I'm going to act on it.
I love it. I love it. Viewers, were you expecting something that profound? Well, you are now. And for the next one, we've upped the level. Jack Pinter, superstar, minor deity in the SW2 downtown region. Thank you so much for being with us. Maybe we'll see you again pretty soon. Viewers, cheers,
Thank you,
guys.
Matt.
Sign in soon.
Bye bye.
Cheers.